index, eventually consistent rates are acceptable. We have to tell the minimum acceptable values for the RCU and WCU. Remember a formula. What's the formula? One RCU equals to number of strongly consistent read for a data block of size 4 KB. So you can say one RCU equals to one strongly consistent read. Okay. And the data block size should be 4 KB. It is equivalent to 2 eventually consistent read. Now, how to calculate it? And again, the data block size would be 4 KB. In order to calculate it, what we will do, we will use this. We have a table item of size 7 KB. First of all, divide 7 KB by 4 KB. I will get 1.75, which will be rounded off to 2. Okay. Now use simple mathematical calculation. 2 eventually consistent is giving you 1 RCU. So 100 eventually consistent will give you 1 into 100 by 2. That will give you 50. And now multiply this 50 by the rounded off number, because we had 1 RCU for the data size of 4 KB. Okay. And we have an item of size 7 KB, which is rounded off by dividing to 4 to 2. Okay. It will give me 100 RCU. So choose the option with 100 RCU. For write capacity unit, the formula is one write capacity unit is equals to number of writes per second for a data size of 1 kilobyte. Okay. So I'm choosing A as an option, and that gives me the correct one. A company has an application that must use Amazon Cognito identity pool attribute-based access control to limit user access to S3 object by department. The company uses an Cognito user pool to authenticate all the users. The company adds a department attribute and populates the attribute for each user. The company tags each S3 object with a corresponding department tag. How can the company configure Cognito to meet these requirements? Let's see. Define different IAM roles on the identity pool for each department. Select the role by using the role selector expression. Okay, this is the expression they have taken. $context.authorizer.claims.sub.department. Define different IAM roles on the user pool for each department. Select the role by using the role selector expression. Okay. It is talking about how can the company configure Cognito to meet these requirements. And the company, basically, what company wants, they are using the Cognito user pool to authenticate the users. Okay. They should have the identity pool attribute-based access control to limit the user access to S3. So you will not use user pool. We will just look for the identity pool. Okay. I'm eliminating B and D directly. What is left in front of me? A and C. In C, it is saying define one role on the identity pool. Associate the role with a policy that allows S3 permission to any resource with the S3 existing object tag / department. And this is a condition. Okay. I will go with C. I don't need to create separate IAM role. I will go with one IAM role. And that gives me the correct answer. It is possible to associate multiple roles with an identity pool. However, the role selection is based on a rule that specifies users attribute / claim that is used to select the role. Okay. A company designs a mobile app to run an AWS. The app will run on EC2 instance behind an application load balancer. The instance will run in an EC2 auto scaling group. The app must securely access data that the company stores in DynamoDB. It is talking about permission. And if we have to access the data from the EC2 instance to the DynamoDB, the best part is IAM role. Or let's read the other options too very quickly, first of all. It is saying create a Cognito user pool for the mobile app users, attach an IAM policy that has the required DynamoDB permission to the user pool. Okay. We will read the question again. Okay. Create an AWS Lambda authorizer with the required DynamoDB permission. Attach the Lambda authorizer to the application load balancer. Create an IAM user for each mobile user. Attach the policy that provides required DynamoDB permission to each IAM user. Create an IAM role. Attach a policy with the required DynamoDB permission to the role. Configure the EC2 auto scaling launch template to attach the role to all EC2 instances. It is saying that the app must securely access the data that the company stores in DynamoDB. and the app is running on EC2 instance. Let's see this. And this is correct. Okay, we'll go with the I am role. Okay. A company is building an application to track the athlete performance using the DynamoDB table. Table has already been created, mark it as important. And each item in the table is identified by the partition key, user ID, and the sort key, sport name. The table design is shown below. Partition key is user ID, sort key, sport name, and attribute are score and score underscore date time. For a better understanding, you can compare attribute with the column and items with the row. A developer is asked to write a leaderboard application to display the top performers based on the score for each sports name, which process will allow the developer to extract results most efficiently from the DynamoDB table. Developer wants to query on the basis of non-primary key attribute. I will move towards the indexes. Okay, so I will look for the options for indexes. There are two options for indexes, option B and option D. I will eliminate option D. Why? Because table has already been created and you can't create a local secondary index after the table got created. What is left in front of you? Option B. And B is the correct choice. Okay. Last one. A developer has an API gateway API that is integrated with an AWS Lambda function. The function reads and writes to a relational database. The developer analyzes the latency of the API and discovers that the initiation of the function's connection to the database is adding significant time to the integration latency. How can the developer improve the latency without adding any additional infrastructure? Developer has to improve the latency. Let's read the question. Use provision concurrency for the Lambda function, initialize SDK client and database connection outside of the function handler. We don't want to add any additional infrastructure. Okay. Not adding any additional infrastructure, let's talk about configuration part. So I will remove C and D because we don't want to add any additional infrastructure. And C and D is talking about adding the DynamoDB accelerator or using cache in front of the database. A and B is left. B is talking about increase the memory of the Lambda function enable API gateway caching. But what we are discovering that the initiation of the function connection to the database is adding significant time to the integration latency. So I will go with A. I will use provision concurrency for the Lambda function and I will initialize client and database connection outside the function handler. What opportunity it will give me? It will basically help me out in order to prepare the connection to respond immediately to the function invocation. And that is going to reduce the time to API gateway and reduces the Lambda function integration latency. Okay. So we are done with the questions as a part of this official practice exam. You can simply say review and finalize section. You can provide the acknowledgement and you can submit answers. Okay. So the idea of this particular video is to help you out in order to give you a guidance what would be the style of questions you can expect in the examination. So these whole video sessions have been recorded in order to give you an understanding so that you can prepare well in your journey for the AWS Developer Associate certification. Thank you very much for staying tuned with me for all these videos. Stay safe, take care, keep exploring and keep learning. If you need such more videos, you can add that in the comment section and I will come up with a recording of more such videos on different AWS certification exams. For the time being, keep learning and prepare well for the certification. Bye-bye and take care everyone.